Greetings, greetings, greetings to all of my loved ones. Welcome back to another episode of Healing Wisdom with me, Empress Oracle, your favorite, realest, sexiest spiritual advisor. On behalf of Starseed Galactic Federation, I have been given access to this knowledgeable information from my Akashic records for the purpose of helping humanity. This information has been given to me directly as a divine channel, and any use and or reproduction of this information without the proper acknowledgement or accreditation from where it was received will result in instant karma for the plagiarizing parties and or individuals. And so it is. Now that we got that out the way, I was not even going to record today, y'all, okay? I was minding my Black-owned business, just getting ready, and Spirit told me that I need to come and give a message to you guys about childhood trauma. So this message specifically is all going to be channeled, whatever it is Source of the Divine wants me to tell you guys in order for you to heal, in order to help anybody who may be going through a situation where they are still struggling with their childhood trauma. Hopefully I have the right words that can speak to your heart and help you to overcome whatever burdens, whatever struggles or tribulations that you're going through. Because we've all been there. I personally have also experienced the side effects or the adverse effects of childhood traumas, not just from me, myself, and my own personal childhood traumas, but as I have grown, I have come across a lot of people. Keep in mind, you guys, I was in the military for 11 years. So I have come across a lot of people from all different types of backgrounds, nationalities, geographical locations that have different types of childhood trauma. And one thing I will say, trauma is something that is universal. Just because you are in a certain financial class or you have a certain status, that does not mean that you do not experience certain traumas. A lot of times people feel as though, oh, well, they were brought up with money, or they're white, or whatever this is, or they're from so-and-so place, so they don't know anything about struggle or trauma. That is not true. You have to understand, childhood traumas tend to be passed down from generation to generation. That's where generational curses come from, because we have our parents and our parents' parents who probably were not raised in the best of conditions, and unfortunately, the environments that they were in, they were not around the right kind of people that would to aid them in their healing process. So instead of them healing, a lot of times people learn to accept trauma. They become used to it. It becomes a part of their life. And because, you know, most people, they fear change or the unknown, they adapt it into a part of their life. And they, whether consciously or subconsciously, they transfer it to their children in the way that they may interact with their children, in the way that they may discipline their children. Hell, even in the way that parents choose to show love to their children or the lack thereof, that can cause some of the deepest childhood traumas. And me personally, I feel as though, based off of what I have experienced and also what I have been seeing, a lot of the issues that we are having today, from domestic violence to senseless killings, to senseless thefts, are due to childhood traumas, to things that people were raised with in unfortunate circumstances, and they just had to learn how to get it how they live. They just adapted to that lifestyle, unfortunately, because I love to always say that those who know better do better, but everybody's mind is not the same. And that is something that you need to realize. Everybody does not think the way that you do. Everybody does not heal from trauma the way that one may expect them to heal. A lot of times people do not always react to trauma the way that stereotypically we think that they would. Say, for example, a lot of times people tend to expect that when somebody is sexually assaulted, a lot of times, 9 out of 10, people expect for them to either turn gay or to turn into basically a prude or a nun and not want to be sexual. However, when somebody goes through a trauma like that, especially if it's repeated or continually, a lot of times people, they end up accepting that, and in turn they may end up being promiscuous. They may end up sleeping with a lot of people, and a lot of people don't understand. They wouldn't believe that it's because of the traumas they went through as a child, whether it's through sexual assault, molestation. They wouldn't believe that that's the reason, that's the trigger, that's the source, and they're just acting out from that trauma. They're like, no, they just decided to be a hoe. But a lot of times there's levels to this shit. Shit is always deeper than it appears on the surface. And sometimes, unfortunately, people don't even realize that a lot of their actions are due to their childhood traumas. Excuse the babies, y'all. Excuse the babies. They said hey. But yeah, a lot of times people don't realize that a lot of their actions, their negative toxic traits, especially in relationships, are based off of their childhood traumas. If you grow up in a family where, say for example, you always have a new uncle every other month, right? So you're really not used to seeing that consistency. And in turn, when you grow up, whether you were the son or the daughter, seeing that traumatizes you in a way, because you tend to realize that, okay, everything doesn't last. So because you saw your mother bringing in a new uncle, or your dad bringing in a new stepmom every other month, that in your head, when you get older, you think that is normal. So you get used to people who want to come and go out of your life all the time, because that's what you saw growing up. You saw that lack of consistency growing up. And a lot of times people don't realize that, or people don't even realize how they end up in domestic violent relationships. A lot of times that's due to childhood trauma. Because, and I can say from my experience, me personally, ain't nobody ever beat my ass in a relationship. We don't do that here. But I have seen, especially being a part of law enforcement, I have responded to calls of domestic violence. I have had friends that were involved in domestic violence, and a lot of them have told me that they feel as though when that person is aggressive or puts their hands on them, that is how they feel love. That's what they're used to. They grew up seeing love being expressed in that form in their parents' toxic or domestic violence laden relationship. So therefore they think that is normal. So if they're not being in a toxic relationship, if there's no fighting, no argument, no ass whoopings every other Sunday, they feel as though it's not normal. They have to shake things up, and they have to bring the toxicity that they grew up in into whatever relationship that is. And that is a childhood trauma, okay, that people tend to bring with them. You know, now, of course, we all have the choice on how we want to heal or how we want to overcome our childhood traumas. But unfortunately, a lot of people are afraid to heal. I'm not even going to say that they don't want to. A lot of people are afraid to because they simply don't know how. Okay? When people get comfortable in their environment, when they are afraid of the unknown, they would rather submerge themselves in the negativity around them. They would rather submerge themselves in the toxic environments, the abusive relationships, okay, because that's all that they know. And they don't even know the first steps on how to heal, nor are they curious on how to do that, because a lot of times people prefer things that come easy. Nobody really wants to do the work. But I'm going to tell you guys, life is filled with healing. Your life's journey will constantly be filled with healing. All right, you're gonna meet people, you're gonna come in relationships, you're gonna go to jobs where you can meet somebody that God or the devil could place there to trigger you, okay, to reignite those childhood traumas and those triggers. And the reason why, ladies and gentlemen, that happens is because that is something that needs to be healed in you so that you can move on in a higher level, in a better vibration, a higher energy, because that is what's destroying the world today. All that toxicity, all that violence, all that unhealed childhood trauma that people are starting to express is pouring out because people are not getting help. People are being raised to pretend to be strong when they're not. So therefore they don't know how to seek help. They were taught to suck it in, hold it all in. All those traumas that you go through your whole life, you're taught nobody cares, don't say anything, keep it on the inside. And all it does is just fester inside. And that's not healthy. Guys, you need to heal. Please. This video is for somebody who needs to heal from their childhood trauma. Sometimes things happen to you when you're a child, and you'll never hear an I'm sorry from the person who hurt you. And unfortunately, sometimes that is something, a challenge for you to overcome, an obstacle for you to overcome in life, is learning how to forgive when somebody's not sorry. Because you have to realize that forgiveness is for you. It's for your better purpose. It's for your self-development. That's what we have to realize. Sometimes you just have to learn how to understand that hurt people hurt people. And unfortunately, sometimes as you grow, you don't even realize the traumas that you went through as a child until you start displaying it as an adult. And then when you look back, you want to blame people. But you didn't realize at that time for a reason. God does not want you to go back. He doesn't want you to take yourself back emotionally. He doesn't want you to take yourself back mentally, spiritually. He does not want you to get caught up in arrested development where you cannot overcome that trauma. Sometimes we don't recall our childhood traumas as a child. That is a form of protection from source, because it may have damaged us even more if we had to relive that trauma every day. So sometimes it gets buried in your subconscious. And as it displays itself later on in life, in certain traits, it's up to you to peep the signs. It's up to you to take that time to not blame things and sources outside of yourself as to why you keep on being triggered. Sometimes you have to find the correlation. You have to find what the commonality is in these triggers. Sometimes you have to dig deep. You have to go back, and you have to forgive people, and you also have to forgive yourself. Whether you spoke up when you were being traumatized as a child or not, these experiences, although they were traumatic and harmful, in the long run, they are supposed to make you a better person, because you are supposed to learn how to heal, and you are supposed to learn how to forgive, and you are supposed to learn how to break those toxic cycles and those generational curses by not reenacting or reliving those same childhood traumas in other people, whether it's people who remind you of your abusers or whether it is your own children. Okay? That is a step in healing your childhood trauma. You have to erase those energies from your whole psyche. You have to sometimes unlearn the things that you were taught growing up that you know have harmed you. They harmed you as a child, and you know they're harming you now. You know you're harboring those feelings in different ways, and it's manifesting in physical illness, in mental illness, all right, in spiritual dis-ease. It's time to do the work, and it's time to do the healing. And as I said, a lot of people don't know how, and they're afraid to. But as I always like to say, one step in the right direction. If you don't know what to do, just speak out loud and ask God to help you. If you don't believe in God's source, Allah, Buddha, the divine, the universe, same thing, same, all the same. No matter what religion, no matter what race, we all, for the most part, believe in a higher source, a higher power. Just speak out loud and ask for help. Ask for guidance and pay attention. Pay attention. Realize when something that can be a healing experience is right there for you. Take the first steps. Sometimes when you don't know, all God wants you to do is just take the first initial steps, and He will guide your path. All right? That's why I have that tattooed right here on me. Proverbs 3, verse 5 and 6. Look it up. All right? Look it up. I live by that. Don't lean on your own understanding. Trust in God. He will direct your path. He will heal you through all your childhood traumas. So good luck to whoever this message is for. I love you all. And also, please check out my shop on Etsy, Empress Oracle Shop. There I have all of the things that can aid you on your spiritual healing journey. It's not for play, you guys. Check me out. That's Empress Oracle Shop. I love you all. Have a wonderful day and an even more wonderful and hopefully healing week.